The live-action Little Mermaid is finally here, and it's certainly making waves. No pun intended. Like the rest of us, you were probably wondering just how many changes to the Disney classic this adaptation would be making. Well, there were quite a few. From a shark attack to a contract signed in blood to Ursula being Ariel's aunt? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, so let's get going. Number 1. The Little Mermaid was always a love story, but for those of us who love that classic Disney romance, the new Little Mermaid has even more to offer. There are many more scenes in this adaptation that allow viewers to chart the romance between Ariel and Eric. Ariel teaches Eric about under-the-sea life, which is something there wasn't much of in the original. Eric shows Ariel his own collection of gadgets and gizmos, and Ariel even tells Eric her name via the constellations. Number 2. While there's much more bringing Eric and Ariel together in this version, there's also much more than just him inspiring her to become human. This movie seemingly deliberately does away with the discourse that Ariel may have thrown her life away just because Prince Eric was attractive.
He's so beautiful.
Ariel's fascination with humans is much clearer in this version. And if your fascination with animation is clearer than your fascination with humans, you have found your people here at The Things Animated. Like and subscribe for more videos like this one. Number 3. If you saw this live-action adaptation already, something interesting probably stuck out to you about our famous villain Ursula. She's Auntie Ursula now, and also a sister. Yeah, there's an interesting family tree in the adaptation that we didn't get to see in the animated version. In this version, Ursula is no longer just some sea witch living in Triton's castle. Instead, these two are brother and sister, which makes Ursula's actions toward Ariel, aka her niece, somehow even more twisted. Interestingly, this was actually the case in the original Hans Christian Andersen Little Mermaid fairy tale, but it was changed for the animated Disney film. Number 4. In addition to Ursula's family tree being a bit different in the remake, her famous song, Poor Unfortunate Souls, is different too.
Poor unfortunate souls.
In particular, they changed one glaring plot hole from the 1989 version. Many fans of the animated version wondered why Ariel, who could clearly write since she signed Ursula's contract, didn't write her name to communicate it with Prince Eric. Well, in this version, that question is cleared up. Rather than signing her name, Ariel uses a drop of blood and one of her scales to sign off on the contract. Another new twist during this song is all of the bones Ursula has in her lair. She's got skulls that she says couldn't pay the price and an entire merperson skeleton. The implication here is that, well, let's say Ursula's a bit scarier in this remake.
We got a deal? I mean, I just gave you the premium package, kid.
Number 5. In addition to what changed about Poor Unfortunate Souls, there were many other changes to the actual soundtrack. The remake got 3 new songs by none other than Lin-Manuel Miranda. 2 songs from the old soundtrack were also cut to make room for the new ones. Daughters of Triton and Le Poisson weren't featured in this remake. Number 6. It's clear that director Rob Marshall wanted to make some updates to The Little Mermaid that added some more character development and backstory. Among these updates was a little more information about Ariel's late mother than we got in the original movie. The animated version didn't give any backstory to what happened to Ariel's mother, only that she wasn't around anymore. For folks who saw the straight-to-video prequel The Little Mermaid: Ariel's Beginning, we know that it was an accident with a ship that caused Ariel to lose her mother. The live-action remake, however, gave us a darker explanation. It's made clear in the new film that rather than a boat accident, it was a single human that took Ariel's mother's life. And this act was deliberate. This certainly puts a more complex twist on Ariel's deep desire to become human. Number 7. Like her mom, there was more backstory for Ariel's sisters as well. In the original, Ariel's sisters are all singers, but in this version they're all learning to become leaders of the kingdom like their father. This allows us to see Ariel's absence through a different lens when she fails to attend an important meeting rather than a performance. Number 8. Ariel may not do exactly what her father wants her to do, but she certainly excels in other ways in this version, like how she ends up being the one to bring down Ursula. In the live-action version, Ariel actually saves Eric by impaling Ursula herself. Number 9. If you're thinking that this version of Ariel is a bit tougher than the original, you're right, and defeating Ursula is far from the only reason. When she and Flounder are being attacked by a shark, she tricks the shark to save them. She's able to communicate her name to Eric after all, and she actually physically fights to get her voice back. In this version, she fills in for Scuttle in fighting Vanessa. Number 10. Speaking of Scuttle, you probably noticed something very different about this bird sidekick in the live-action remake. Sure, the 2 versions of Scuttle have similar personalities, but she actually isn't a seagull anymore. She's actually a gannet. This is significant because gannets are a type of aquatic bird that can spend periods of time underwater. This actually gives us an explanation for this super confusing moment that was all over the internet, with folks wondering how the heck Scuttle was hanging out underwater and chatting with Ariel. Number 11. Like Scuttle, a lot about Eric is also different in the new film. We get to learn a lot more about this character, since when you think about it, we didn't know much about Prince Eric at all in the animated film. This version teaches us that Prince Eric washed ashore alone after a shipwreck as a child. He was adopted by Queen Selena, making him a prince. He seems to be interested in his roots and maybe finding his biological parents, which fuels his interest in exploring the seas. Number 12. While we learn more about Eric's past, we also learned about his future with Ariel. The animated version ends with the pair's wedding. This also occurs in the 2023 version, but the happy couple also decides to explore the ocean, something that's important for both of them. This makes the happily ever after a lot more exciting. So, what did you think about all these changes to the original? Which was your favorite? What about your least favorite? Let's discuss in the comments. And for many more videos like this one, be sure to like and subscribe to The Things Animated.